What's up, fight fans, and welcome back to another KJ MMA show. I am Ryan, he is Garrett, and this Saturday is a good one. UFC Fight Night Long Island, and it's headlined by a monster featherweight bout, Brian Ortega, Yair Rodriguez. Garrett, how you feeling, man?
I'm feeling great. We had coming off a good weekend last weekend, but we're here to make more money this weekend, and we have a banger of a main event. Brian Ortega, Yair Rodriguez, two of the top featherweights, in the world, battling it out. Rodriguez saying he's gonna get a title shot with the win, so I'm looking forward to see who comes out on top.
Yeah, this is a main event. I mean, for the hardcore fans, for the casuals, this main event for a fight night is elite. And let's just start right there. Yair Rodriguez plus 155 dog, Brian Ortega the minus 180 favorite. How do you like that line? Who do you think is going to win this one?
Man, I gotta take a shot on Yair at plus 155. I think he has a substantial advantage on the feet. Obviously, he's super dynamic, throws a ton of different looks out there. He's very unorthodox, really hard to game plan against, especially on Ortega, who, yes, he's been improving, but he's nowhere near on the level of Yair in terms of striking. Obviously, he's got a massive advantage on the mat, but the thing is, he doesn't normally, attempt a lot of takedowns. He didn't attempt a takedown until the third round against Volkanovski, even though he was completely outgunned on the feet from bell to bell every single moment of that fight. And he's not a great offensive wrestler to begin with. I mean, granted, Rodriguez isn't the best defensive wrestler, but I think he's got good enough takedown defense to keep this fight standing. You know what the crazy part is? Ortega has 0 submissions in dominant control, like in top control, in back take, or anything of the sort. He's got 0 submission wins. All of his submission wins are defensive. Guillotines off of failed takedown attempts, triangle off his back. And Rodriguez isn't going to go for takedowns, so you kind of know going in if Ortega is not the one on top, or I don't see him getting the submission. I don't know. I mean, that's just me. Even the line kind of agrees with me in a way too, because if you look at the submission prop, you have Ortega is at plus 200 all the way up to plus 280. I'm talking about a guy that has numerous submission wins over his, in his career, and he's plus 280 to win by submission. I don't see the correlation there. So I lean towards Yair Rodriguez taking this win. I like him to win via decision, and him to win by decisions plus 330, plus all the way up to plus 350.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm kind of with you there. I feel like the only way Ortega wins this fight is if he catches him on the ground and subs him, and I'm not so certain that that's going to happen. Yair's stand-up is elite, and I feel like he scrambles well enough where even if he does get in some compromising positions, he'll probably be able to get back to his feet. He's super athletic. I'm just so happy that this card starts early, so I don't have to wait until past 10 p.m. to watch this main event. Last weekend's card, my God, the fights went on until like 2 in the morning Eastern time.
I was sleeping. I'm not gonna lie.
It's ridiculous. You wake up and you catch it the next day, but not the case here. They start early, 11 a.m. the prelims, and this main event. Oh, I am salivating, but I'm with you. I think Yair Rodriguez is the play, especially with how close these two are just in their overall skill sets. I think plus 155 is a safe bet for the underdog to win a decision here. And I think that's exactly what's going to happen. It's going to go the distance. The co-main event, Michelle Waterson, Amanda Lemos. Michelle Waterson plus 270, Lemos minus 325. So she's a massive favorite over the karate hottie. Is that right, Garrett? Do you think that's accurate, or should this be a little closer?
I think it's accurate. Waterson's best time, days are behind her. She technically should be 0-4 in her last 4 fights. Her only win being against Karolina Kovacevic back in 2019, because she definitely lost the Angela Hill fight. I don't know how or what way she won that fight, but she won a split decision, and she just has looked bad every single fight, one after another. And it happens. She's at the tail end of her career. She's got other things going on. This is not her full-time priority. Well, Amanda Lemos, her only blemish is really against Jessica Andrade, where she was looking good early. She was landing some heavy shots, but she got caught in a standing arm triangle, which was, unheard of. You don't necessarily ever see that, especially in women's MMA. So that was impressive there. But Amanda Lemos, she's got insane power. I think she's got the most knockdowns in strawweight history or something crazy like that. And I kind of expect her to get a knockout here. And right now, the knockout's priced around plus 220 all the way up to plus 250. And I kind of I kind of like that. That much by knockout at over plus 200. If I'm playing this at all, I think that's the play there.
Okay, well, interesting co-main event in the 115-pound women's weight class. Let's move to welterweight. This is an interesting battle. Lee versus Salikov. Lee's a plus 140 underdog. Salikov is a minus 165 favorite. And, I'm kind of torn on this one because, Muslim, he's got a really great record. I mean, it's clearly better than Lee's, but Lee has fought tougher competition. I mean, most recently, he had to step up and face Khamzat Chimaev. So, I mean, how many people are raising their hand for that fight? That scary monster. So really interesting here. I feel like I wouldn't be surprised if Lee sprung the upset here, but I think the safe play is probably Salikov. Am I right here?
If you want to play it safe, I don't like to play it safe. I take a little bit of a gamble. I took Lee at plus 150 earlier in the week. I think it was around Monday. I just think he's going to be the busier fighter. He definitely has a volume advantage. He's the bigger fighter. He's the better grappler as well. And, he's been training at Stanford MMA since April, I believe. So he's been getting in a ton of grappling. He's been training with Shavkat Rakhmonov for this fight as well. So I'm expecting a heavy dose of some takedowns here. And it will be the first person to really test his takedown defense, like literally test his takedown defense, since Alex Garcia, who took him down and subbed him in the second round. I feel like Lee could have some success there. It's going to come down to that. Because I think Salikov is too technical to really lose a kickboxing match. So Lee's going to have to mix this thing, wear on him, get him against the cage, rinse and repeat, just make him work because he's older, he's slower, he hasn't fought in over a year. So I feel like he's going to be a little rusty. And I really wouldn't want to play a guy who's, 37 years old or around there, coming off such a long layoff and 2 stints with COVID as well. So we really don't know what shape he's going to be in coming off a long layoff and all those things. So I'm taking Leah with the upset as the underdog and hopefully cashes.
I'm excited about this fight. I feel like this is a sneaky good fight where especially the hardcore fans out there know who both of these guys are. And it really could be fireworks one way or the other. Matt Schnell, Sue Majeri. That's an interesting bout at 125. Schnell plus 225 underdog. Sue Majeri is a minus 265 favorite. How do you see this one going, Garrett?
I don't like the line. I think it should be a little bit closer because obviously Schnell is a step up from Zaruk Adashev and whoever else that Sumadarji has really beaten. What doesn't go well for Sumadarji if this fight somehow hits the mat? He's been subbed in all 4 of his losses. He's been subbed by Louis Smolka in his debut. We know he's got power. He's very dynamic on the feet, but in scrambles he tends to get caught and chokes, and he's been taken down. He's been submitted in all of his losses. So if I make a play on this fight, I don't like the Sumadarji by knockout because it's pretty much even money. It doesn't give me enough to really gamble with. But you give me Schnell by submission at plus 800, that's what I like.
I could see that happening. I think Schnell doesn't necessarily get as much respect as he deserves. I mean, he's a tough guy, and he's going in there always against high-level opponents. So I wouldn't be surprised.
His resume is leaps and bounds against Sumadarji in that sense.
No doubt. So I wouldn't be surprised to see Schnell spring the upset here. Veteran guy, and he needs a win. He needs to string them together here. So let's move to 145. Ooh, this fight here. Shane Burgos, Charles Jourdain. Who doesn't like watching Shane Burgos get in there and throw down? That guy, every time he gets in there, it's always fireworks. Minus 165 favorite for Burgos. Jourdain plus 140. I kind of feel like Burgos is going to be able to withstand any damage that Jourdain throws at him and ultimately get a finish. I am picking Burgos late, whether it's round 2 or round 3, to get the TKO stoppage. Are you with me, or do you feel like Jourdain springs the upset?
I'm definitely going to take Burgos. I'm always a little bit worried because he gets into firefights. He's been knocked out a couple times. He takes a lot of damage, and we know Jourdain has some power, sneaky power in his hands and all of his limbs. But at the end of the day, it's hard to really go against Burgos in the spot, especially at minus 165. And it's such a massive step up in competition from who he's beaten. We're talking about he's beaten Lando Venata, Andre Ewell, Marcelo Rojo, and Duho Choi. That's his only wins in the UFC. 2 of those guys are bantamweights as well. And then he looked bad against Kalaba, who he got knocked down by, and he faded in the fight against Julian Rosa, and ultimately got tapped. So I think Burgos, as long as he doesn't fight fire with fire, fight smart, stays behind his jab because he's got a 6-inch reach advantage, I feel like he's gonna bust up the face of Jourdain early and often with that jab and just stay at range and just pick him apart with high volume boxing.
I think that's exactly what's going to happen. We'll see if the Canadian Jourdain can come in with a game plan and spring the small upset here, but really intriguing bout. And then that could be a fight of the night candidate right there. Now, Miesha Tate, who doesn't like watching Cupcake? And she's back in action against Lauren Murphy. Miesha is the -205 favorite. Lauren Murphy +175 dog. I kind of feel like this is going the distance. One way or another, I don't think either one of these ladies is getting a sub. They're both veterans. They're both well-rounded. They're both durable. I like Tate to win a decision here, but I wouldn't be surprised if it goes the other way. Miesha Tate is older. She, had that layoff for a long while, and now she's back down a weight class trying to make a run at it. How do you see this one going, Garrett?
I have Miesha Tate dominating this fight. From start to finish. This is her rightful weight class. She should have been at 125 her entire career. She wasn't a big bantamweight. There was no bantamweight division back then, which is why she was never at flyweight. And she never thought to go down to flyweight upon her return. So, here she is finally making her flyweight debut, and I think she's going to pass it with flying colors. They gave her a cupcake, pun intended, matchup and Murphy because, Murphy's a top contender. She just lost to Valentina, but her biggest flaw is her defensive grappling, and we've seen that time and time again. She's, I think, 1-4 when she's been taken down at least once. And Miesha Tate has landed a takedown in every one of her fights, dating all the way back to Strikeforce, except for against two opponents, which is Sarah McMahon, extremely high-level wrestler and grappler, and Amanda Nunes, who's also extremely high-level wrestler, grappler. Other than that, she's taken everybody else. I don't expect Murphy to defend the takedown at all. She's definitely going to get taken down. I mean, it's inevitable. She's 110% getting taken down. And then I just think she's going to be controlled from then on out. And then you look at Miesha Tate and who she's fought, right? She's only lost to elite competition, former title challengers, former champions, and up in literally top contenders. She just lost to Ketlin Vieira, who's probably going to fight for the title after Amanda Nunes and Pena fight. And she took that to round 5, and it was tied 2-2 going into the 5th round. If Murphy went up to 135, she would have gotten smoked by Vieira. Absolutely smoked. We know how high level Ketlin Vieira is. BJJ black belt. Judoka black belt. Massively huge, strong, powerful. Everything Murphy's not. I think everything is going Tate's way. This is a setup fight. So Tate gets the win, and she goes in and faces Valentina Shevchenko at the end of the year.
Okay, I'm not mad at that. I love watching Miesha Tate compete, and having her in there relevant for this weight class is exciting for the fans. That does it for the main card. So we'll move to the prelims now, and I want to be selfish here and start with my guy, Dustin Jacoby. He is a dog, a +100 dog against Da Un Jung, who's a -120 favorite. Dustin Jacoby's finally cracked the top 15. We know his kickboxing credentials, how good he is on the feet, and he's one of the nicest guys in the UFC. So I can't help but pull for him. Please tell me you see him winning this one.
Oh yeah, I locked in a bet on Jacoby as an underdog. I just had to. I feel like if you have underdog money on either of these guys, that's the right move. So I had to take a play on Jacoby. I feel like this fight goes the distance. He's probably going to get his hand raised. He knows how to win on the scorecards. He's 6-2-1 in his career when it goes to a decision. Hasn't lost a decision since 2012. And if he didn't get 10-8 in the first round against Cutelaba, he'd be 7-2 and has not lost a decision in the UFC. So I expect if this does go decision, Jacoby gets to win. Jung, I do think he is a little bit more powerful. Obviously, he's the bigger, stronger guy. He's got the better wrestling. I just don't expect him to do what he did against William Knight, which is rinse and repeat, keep him down, and just keep him flat on his back. Jacoby has gotten a lot better with his takedown defense. He's gotten a lot better in getting up off the mat as well, as you saw in the Cutelaba fight. Took a ton of damage, right? But then he was able to get back up and absolutely piece of Cutelaba for rounds 2 and 3. I kind of see the same going on here. And he's in much better shape. You're talking about a kickboxer that had to only punch in his last fight and still won because of injury. So as long as he's in tip-top shape, I think he gets the job done and he cashes again as an underdog this time.
Yeah, I don't think people realize how good of an athlete Dustin Jacoby is. He's a scratch golfer. He was an all-state basketball player in high school. He played football in college. This guy is as good of an athlete as you can get, and is not just his takedown defense that's gotten better, but his stand-up has gotten better over the years, which is crazy to me. So I love the guy. I hope he continues a run to maybe crack in the top 10 here soon. So that is an interesting bout at 205. That is is going to be early on in the card. So let's start with let's go to next the actual main event fight on the prelims, which is a banger of a fight. Puna Soriano, Dalcha Lungiambula. Puna is a minus 225 underdog. Dalcha plus 190 underdog. This fight, it really don't blink, because either one of these guys can put the lights out in a half a second. Dalcha obviously is coming off that loss to Cody Brundage. Puna losing to Nick Maximoff and Brendan Allen consecutively. Really interesting matchup. Both of these guys, they need a win here. So what's the safe bet? How do you see this one going, Garrett?
This is a tough fight. I wouldn't want to take Soriano's price tag of minus 225. Money's been coming in at Dalcha slowly but steadily, and I kind of understand it a little bit because Dalcha's got power. He's got some plus wrestling as well. Anything could happen in this fight. Puna can get rocked and he could get finished, or he could get taken down, but also Puna could go in there and starch Dalcha or take him down and control him as well. So, what? I really can't. If I had to pick a side, I'd probably take Puna. I think he's a better all-around fighter and better athlete, but I really can't play him at that line. And maybe under 2.5 rounds at minus 150 at some places, or maybe the over 1.5 rounds at minus 165, minus 160. But I'm just staying away from this fight altogether. It's a tough one.
Yeah, I mean, both of these guys are so dangerous. I mean, if you just look at Dalcha, the guy's he's basically built like a Greek god. He's got muscles on top of muscles. So very, very interesting fight. Don't blink for this one. Ricky Simone plus 145 against Jack Shore minus 170. Can Ricky Simone hand Jack Shore his first loss?
Yes, and he will. I'm biased towards Ricky. I bet on him every single fight from the LFA days all the way to where we're at right now. I just think he's got it. He had some mishaps early on against Uriah Faber and Rafa, who are elite. But then since then he's been on a tear, 4-fight win streak. He knocked out Rafael Assunção out in his last fight, and he's the only guy to ever finish Merab Dvalishvili as well. So this guy, he's got it. He's got the wrestling to combat it with Shore. We've seen Shore get taken down against lesser grapplers and wrestlers, and like Timur Valiev. So I do think Simone will be successful in taking him down. And if he doesn't keep him there, he will rinse and repeat, because that's what he does. He's got cardio for days. My only drawback is he tends to get hit. We've seen him get hit. Shore's got some sneaky power, as we saw in the Valiev fight, knocked him down twice. So it really boils down to whether Simone can take the power. And if he can, I think he wins all day, due to volume, due to pace, due to pressure, and just his relentless takedowns.
I'm going to be circling that fight because I feel like that could be another fight where it could get fight of the night. Performance bonus honors there. Let's move to 145. Bill Algeo minus 200 favorite. Herbert Burns plus 170 dog. What's the play here, Garrett?
This line is so predicated on what Algeo did in his last fight and what Burns did in his last fight, and how he's been out for 2 years. If this fight was them coming off wins, there's no way Algeo will ever be a minus 200, minus 215 favorite. I mean, you're talking about a guy that has massive discrepancies in his defensive wrestling and grappling. You're talking about a guy that's been taken out 20 times in his last 5 fights. I mean, that's bad. And Herbert Burns is actually a pretty decent wrestler to get it to the mat. And if he gets it to the mat, you're stuck there. And then you look at Algeo tends to give up his back a lot. And if Burns gets your back, you're not getting him off of you. So I'm expecting Burns to go in there and get the early submission win.
Ooh, okay. Well, that's interesting right there. Obviously, he's got some good people around him. His cousin is one of the best fighters in the world. They're cousins, right? Herbert Burns and
no, they're brothers. They're brothers.
They're brothers. Okay.
They're brothers.
Even better. All right, let's move to 185. This is a fight that I'm staying away from because I think these two are very, very evenly matched. And even the line kind of says so, although Dwight Grant is a little bit of a favorite, minus 135, Dustin Stoltzfus plus 115. Again, like I said, I'm staying away from it. Garrett, what are you thinking about this fight?
I bet on Dustin Stoltzfus plus 125 earlier in the week. I just think he's got such a massive advantage in the grappling. Grant's not going to be able to overcome it with his power. I mean, yes, Grant's got some power, but he was fighting down at 170. I know when you move up in up a weight class, the power stays with you, but not if a guy that's, going against heavy hitters. If he can take a punch there, I think he can take a punch from a welterweight as well. Stoltzfus has shown that he's durable. He's shown that he can grapple. And this is his first striker that he's faced in his time in the UFC. I mean, he's 0-3, yes, but he's faced elite competition at 0-3. You're talking about Kyle Dawkins, Rodolfo Vieira, Gerald Mearshart are his, that's a murderous row of grapplers, guys he can't take down and control. Now he finally gets a guy who he can take down and control. Grant's takedown defense is abysmal. He's only defended 50% takedowns his last 5 fights. He's got taken down against strikers like Francisco Trinaldo and Alan Jouban are, two of the, and Sergey Kondoshko. All 3 of those guys are not grapplers by trade, and they all took him down. So if those guys can take him down, I think the bigger, stronger Stoltzfus will be able to take him down, control him, and eventually get the sub. I think Stoltzfus also is the best wrestler, best grappler that Grant's faced in his entire mixed martial arts career. And now he's got to move up to 185, giving up a ton of size, giving up 7 years of age as well. He's also like 37 years old. I think Stoltzfus is only like 28, 29, still fairly young. And Stoltzfus is a bigger guy here. So I think he goes in there, takes him down, and controls him from there.
And the first fight of the night, the curtain jerker, as they call it, Emily Ducati, -150 favorite against Jessica Penne, a +130 dog. What do you see in this 115-pound women's matchup?
I think I'm a little high on Ducati more than others because I've been watching her since her Bellator days when she was a flyweight, fighting for the title there. Now she's the former Invicta FC strawweight champion. She's looked great over time. She's fought some, really good competition, like Kanako Murata, Juliana Lima, Daniel Taylor, Alicia Sapatello. I mean, those are really good competition outside of the UFC, as well as, fighting Alime McFarlane in Bellator, and Emily Whitmire as her first fight as a professional. So she's fought legit competition, and I think that's what's going to get her ready to fight Jessica Penne. She's had ample enough time to get ready for this fight. She's had 2 months to get ready. So I think she'll be ready to get for Jessica Penne, who doesn't have striking abilities really at all. She will get touched up by Ducati, and I think Ducati's takedown defense has shown to be very, very good. She defended 14 of 20 takedowns against Murata, who's a hell of a grappler. We know Ducati has only been subbed by McFarlane, and it took 5 rounds for McFarlane to sub her, and that was way back in the day. And I know Penne is always submission over position, so I feel like even if she gets it down, she's going to go for a sub, lose position. Ducati ends up on top, and she's going to lay some ground and pound. And I feel like she's going to control the fight at distance on the feet as well. So I got Ducati winning this. I got her winning by decision as well.
All right. Well, those are all of the fights for this weekend's card. We motored right through that in just about 25 minutes. And again, this is UFC Fight Night Long Island. It starts early. The prelims start at 11 o'clock. The main card starts at 2. So make sure that you're up and at it and don't miss this exciting event here. As always, Garrett, it's a pleasure doing the show with you. Make sure all of you out there watching that you subscribe to the Vegas Odds YouTube channel, and we will see you guys next week for another show.